Hi, Internet. So, as you saw from the walk around that I did before this little intro, this is going to be a game room tour again. I did one as my first main video on the channel about a year ago, and that was when I was living in a different apartment. And I did one 6, 7 months ago when I moved in, but some stuff has changed since then. I've gotten some new stuff, gotten rid of some old stuff. So I figured it might be fun to just do another game room tour. Plus, people seem to like these videos. So I'm thinking every 6 months I'll do a game room tour. Just kind of go with that. But anyways, I'm not gonna, sit here and talk for too long. Let's just get into the game room. So I want to get things started in this section, since this is the section that has changed the most since last time you saw it. Originally, I had this shelving unit and a white shelving unit that's over there now, stacked up on each other. There was no TV here, and there were more systems. Well, I decided to make some changes. This TV is a 55-inch Samsung TV, and it's from my living room, which is right out that door. I moved it in here because I didn't like how it was situated in my living room. I was kind of looking up at it, and that was just kind of uncomfortable. So I took the white shelving down, put it over there, we'll get to that later, and put my TV on it. And this has, this is where I do all like my HD gaming and such. So, systems that I have right now, I have my Destiny PS4, which I don't know if I'm blocking, so here it is, my Destiny PS4. Some random systems that I have located here, I have my Oculus down there. I have my Xbox Series X. I have a Wii U and a Wii Mini, which I'm not really sure where these need to go. I have my Halo Xbox, which is right here. And then I have two broken systems. I have a normal NES and a Master System. Now, both of these do not work currently. I just keep them because they're sort of nostalgic to me. They look good on a shelf, but they don't work. And this is where I do all of my modern gaming. So here we have a lot of different games for different systems. I'll just go down each row or column or whatever, and then go along the top. So up here we have DS games and some 3DS games. I don't have a lot of 3DS games, but I'm most proud of the Pokemon games that I have. I have Pokemon Pearl and Diamond, which is still in my DS, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, White, and Ruby. Omega Ruby. I'm sorry, I should say. Then we have my N64 games, which I got rid of a chunk of them, but I kept the good ones. So we have Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, No Mercy, Majora's Mask, Spider-Man, Toy Story 2, Ocarina of Time, Mario Tennis, Mario 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Mario Party, and Mario Party 2 and 3 by default, Tony Hawk 1 and 2, Pokemon Snap, 2 Pokemon Stadiums, Doom, Castlevania, Mario Golf, another Mario Party, Banjo-Tooie, is that Banjo-Tooie? I think so. I can't read it, it's upside down. Yeah, Banjo-Tooie. Another Mario Kart, Paper Mario, and Smash Brothers. Then we have my Super Nintendo games. I got rid of a good chunk of these. I kept all the good ones. My main one being Chrono Trigger, which has a really beat up cover to it, but I kept it. And it's legit too. That's a legit copy of Chrono Trigger. Unlike this, which is a reproduction of Earthbound. I was curious to see how reproductions held up, so I picked this up for $20 off of Etsy. It's completely fake, but it does work. it's a nice way to play Earthbound. Down here we have my NES collection. I'm very happy with this collection. It's not as big as it used to be, but it has some, I'd say, heavy hitters in there. I have all the usual, the Marios, the Zeldas. It has my favorite NES game, which is Kid Icarus, and Metroid as well. And then just some, one thing that I'm very happy to have is all the Mega Man games for NES. If you can see, I have Mega Man 1 through 6 right here, and I'm very happy to have that. It took a while to find them all, and actually it's funny. I remember talking in one video about how I had all the Mega Mans except 5, and then I happened to be in a shop the very next day, and they had Mega Man 5 for sale, and I picked it up right away. Down below here, we have some 7800 games, Atari 7800 games. I don't have a lot of them, but I have a few, and a few is still plenty. And underneath that, I have a very small amount of PSP games. I got rid of a lot of PSP games just because I don't use the system a lot. But I still, I kept the good ones. The Hot Shots Golf, the Ape Escape, the Silent Hills, all the stuff that's actually good. Over here, we have my GameCube collection. This used to be like 2 shelves worth of GameCube games, if you remember. I sold them all. And I started over. The only ones I kept were Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness. Everything else I got rid of completely. So, I have, Mario Sunshine, Smash Bros, some Resident Evils, Luigi's Mansion, Soul Calibur 2. I think it's a very good collection for what it is. It's obviously, there's so many GameCube games, but that's why I did the modified GameCube, which is sitting over on the other shelf. Next we have Sega CD and Sega Saturn games. I don't have a lot of these because, as anyone will tell you, they're very expensive to collect for. So when I got rid of a bunch of these, I kept the good ones. So we have, for Saturn, we have Sonic 3D Blast, Tomb Raider, and Panzer Dragoon. This is not the really expensive one. This is just Panzer Dragoon, the original. Then for Sega CD, we have a limited run of Monkey's Island, Dragon's Lair, Sonic CD, and then a few. We have Street Fighter. What is this? Street Fighter. This is X-Men vs. Street Fighter. And then I have some loose discs, which I think one of them is Duke Nukem. Underneath that, we have my PS3 collection. This has also exploded in the last year. Same with PS4. PS4 is ungodly. I moved them over here because they used to be in a corner that was over there. And I didn't like it. It felt too far away from everything. So I moved them all over here. Let's see. Do I have any heavy hitters in there? I know somewhere in here I have Lollipop Chainsaw. I just can't see it off the top of my dome right now. But I have all the classics, the BioShocks, the Borderlands, the Darksiders, the Dark Souls, the Little Big Planets, the Killzones, the Infamouses, just all the games that I grew up playing. And then underneath that, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, can you? Yeah, down here, we have a stack of 32X games. So we have Cosmic Carnage, NBA Jam, Knuckles Chaotic, and Doom. Doom is a fantastic game for the 32X. Now, I used to have a semi-big Genesis collection. However, once I got this, the Mega EverDrive, I kind of lost interest in collecting for Genesis. So the Mega EverDrive is just a cartridge that pops into your Genesis, and it has an SD card on the top. This SD card is loaded with every Genesis and 32X game. So it just plops in, and you could play any game that you want. I've done a video on that. And then I have another game up here that's just Sonic and Knuckles. Some other games that I have, I guess I can get to the top shelf now. The top shelf has my copy of Doom for Super Nintendo, Super Game Boy, Game Genie, a box of for Castlevania 4 for Super Nintendo. I have some box 32X games over there, my copy of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, and then I have my Jaguar games, which I love. I love the Jaguar. I think it's such a fun system. I don't have a lot of games for it. I have Iron Soldier, Cybermorph, Where Did You Learn to Fly, Wolfenstein 3D, and Tempest 2000. And then I have some boxes. I have the box for Wolfenstein, Tempest, and Iron Soldier. Right there is just some DVDs, Blu-rays. And then I have my Xbox and Xbox 360 games. I got rid of most of these games earlier in the year just because I don't play them as much. I don't have that much fondness for 360 and Xbox because I grew up with a PS2, PS3, PS1, PS4. So I don't have that much memory with them. But there are some good games in there. I'd say the highlight is Simpsons Hit and Run and the Gears of War series. Down below here, it's just Xbox. It's just Atari games. We have Atari 2600. We have Atari 5200 down in the very corner down there, which you can't see. I'll have to do a zoom. No, I guess you can see it. Yeah, they're way down here. And I've done in-depth looks into all these games before, so I'll have all the videos linked in the description. Alright, so one new addition to the room is how I store my controllers. Now, originally, I had just 2 of these 3-unit bins, and they were in my closet, which is back that way. And I didn't really like it. This wall was kind of barren. There wasn't much in there. Plus, I realized I had way too many controllers for 2 bins. So I got this third one, and I've organized all the controllers and labeled everything. So we have Atari controllers, NES and Super Nintendo, Genesis, Saturn, and Dreamcast, N64 and GameCube, PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, Xbox and Xbox 360, Wii and Switch, other, which is just random controllers that I have, and then light guns down below. Actually, up top here is the Atari 5200 trackball controller. I love this thing. It actually works, too, which I'm really happy to have. And then we have The Last of Us Part 2 Collector's Edition. And then right here, excuse me, it's something in my throat. In the center, we have my Philips CDI, and on top of it is just a air purifier that I turn on whenever I'm not in this room, just because it gets really dusty in here, and, got to make sure that everything stays dust-free. As you can see here, I have all of my magazines and guidebooks, and a few other things. On the bottom shelf, we have some controller boxes. We have the Fallout role-playing game. And then we have all of my guidebooks and such. I don't really have... what's the term? I don't really have a lot of magazines, per se. I used to have a lot of Game Informer magazines, but I don't know where those went. If I had to guess, they're back at my parents' place. But, yeah, so I have all of my guides. I have a lot of Fallout ones. And then up top, if I can move the camera up, I have some boxes, a little light that should be on right now, and the Ellie statue from The Last of Us Part 2 Collector's Edition. And the 2 boxes there are my TurboGrafx 16 box and my Xbox Series X box. So this guy is my Sony Trinitron TV. And actually, I wrote the model number on top here. It's a KV-20FS12 model Sony Trinitron. I actually picked it up for very cheap. I know these go for... I've seen people sell them for hundreds of dollars, or ask hundreds of dollars. I don't know if they sell for that. But I managed to pick this up for $20. Some guy was using it as a monitor in a town like 40 minutes from me. And he was getting rid of them. He had two. And I picked one up. And it's heavy, but it looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic. And it's probably one of my favorite things about this game room. I love this TV. I love the way it looks and sounds. I love how, I don't know, it has all the things I could need. And it even has the remote. And hooked up to it is my red N64 playing Donkey Kong 64. Let's talk about modern games. Now, the last time you guys saw this PS4 collection was when I did my dedicated PS4 video a couple months ago. And I'm not going to say it's really grown since then. There's been a few additions. But compared to when I moved into this place, this collection has doubled or tripled. I'm just going to move this. This is a collector's edition for Final Fantasy XIV out of the way. Love this thing. Yeah, it's obnoxious how much it is. The games stack all the way up to here, too. So there's 4 complete stacks plus extra. I love collecting for the PS4, and there's a very good reason why. See, here's my theory, at least. And people could dispute this. I know that I had one guy comment on one video that that isn't collecting, it's just gambling. And yeah, I could see his point, but we don't know which one of these games is going to become extremely valuable, let's say 5 years from now. Or 10 years from now, that's probably a better metric, 10 years from now. These games are incredibly cheap right now. As you can see, like Last of Us Remastered, $6.99. That's just one example. These games are incredibly cheap, and they're plentifully available. But for how long? Because eventually, and this is the same reason why I was buying PS3 games like crazy, the stores for those will shut down. Everything is slowly moving to digital. We're getting less and less actual physical releases. So over time, theoretically, these should go up in value. Not saying they will, it's just a guess. It's kind of fun to try and figure out what's going to be the next, like Little Samson for the NES, where, because it didn't sell well, or because it wasn't, because of X, Y, and Z, it's now worth thousands of dollars. We don't know which one of these games is going to be that, if any. So why not get them while they're cheap, hold on to them, worst case scenario, you lose out on $6. So that's what a lot of these games cost, $6, $7, most of these games were under $20. And that's a lot. I mean, look at all these games. There's so many of them. And I have a dedicated video on my PS4 collection where I go through each game individually, so I'm not going to do that here. Same with Xbox Series X games. I don't have an Xbox One. I do have like 2 or 3 Xbox One games, but I don't have an Xbox One. I was always a PS4 guy. And I don't know. I just don't really see the value in having an Xbox One when all the games I could play on it I have for PS4. Whatever. And then I have my Switch games over there. Switch is kind of hard to collect for because Switch games never go down in value. And by that, I'm sorry, never go down in price. Mario, what's a good example? Any Mario game will be $60 today and will be $60 10 years from now. That's true with, even common games, like Smash for N64. It's not exactly a rare game, but it's still worth $60. So, I don't know. I enjoy collecting for these two systems, mostly because I have a Series X and I can actually play these games. but I really love collecting for the PS4. PS4, sorry. I had something in my throat there. I'm holding my phone, which is what I used to record for this, because I don't really want to have to set up 2 different shots. So I'm just doing the tops of these bookshelves now, the 2 of them. So here we just have a little Lego set. Just thought it was cute. I love rabbits. Then we have my 2 Xbox 360s. We have the original one, and we have the Modern Warfare 2 edition. It's kind of stuck. Kingdom Hearts 3. And then we have handhelds. I love my handhelds. They are so fun. So let me just go off what we have here. We have the PSP Go, which is my second most recent handheld pickup. We have Blue DS from when I was a kid. My sister's Game Boy Advance SP, because mine was red, my brother's was black, and my sister's was pink, and the other 2 are gone. I don't know where they went. We have 2 Game Boy Advance. One is custom modded to have a backlit screen, this one. And the other one is the Pokemon Center in New York Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Light. Game Boy Micro. God of War PSP. PS Vita. My DS Lite, that is the Diamond and Pearl DS Lite. My Pokemon Game Boy Color. And 2, we have the Pokeball 2DS. And my most recent pickup is this Super Mario 2DS. What is this actually? It's a DS XL. My bad. And then we have a few little figurines. We have the Game & Watch color screen Zelda game. And then we have... I'm going to move this out of the way. We have handheld games. So I just have a couple... yeah, I'd say a couple. Game Boy Advance games, including my original copy of Emerald from when I was a kid. Some Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. Well, actually, these are all Game Boy Color now that I think about it. And then these are the original Game Boy. I don't have a lot. I don't really collect for those systems. Maybe one day I will, but I don't really. Alright, then we're getting to this shelf. This shelf has changed a lot since I last did a game room tour. I've gotten rid of a lot of games. Just stuff that I didn't need, kept all the good ones. So let's start at the top. This is just a multi-cart for my Vectrix. This is my PS2 collection up here, which I filtered down to just the good games, including one of my favorite pickups, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, the Japanese edition. I can't play this because I don't know Japanese, but I love Kingdom Hearts nonetheless. And PS2 was kind of like my first love in gaming. It kind of opened my eyes to what gaming could be, especially with Kingdom Hearts and the endless fun I have with the Tony Hawk series. But I do have some good games in there. Eco, Metal Gear Solid, Half-Life, Resident Evil 4. I do have Brotherhood of Steel as well. Very happy I found that. I love Fallout. Underneath, we have, after I sit down, we have PS1 games, including my beloved Clock Tower for PS1. As I've said before, many times, in fact. That game, I remember seeing on an episode of X-Play. By the way, RIP, X-Play and G4, they just recently went under again, because Comcast pulled the plug. Sad. I remember seeing that game in a Scary Games list. I believe it was the Saw parody episode where they had to name 10 scary games. And I always wanted to play that game. Could never find it until one day I stumbled into a shop and found that game. It remains today the most expensive game I've ever purchased at $220. Yes, I know. $220. But to fulfill a childhood fantasy of having that game, you can't put a price on that. And I've done dedicated videos on all these different systems and games and stuff like that, so I'll link all of those below, or you can just go on my channel and see. This is Dreamcast. I don't have a lot of Dreamcast. I do have some heavy hitters. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Power Stone, Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, Marvel vs. Capcom, which I think is one of my favorite games to play for the Dreamcast. I have a love-hate relationship with the Dreamcast. I like it, but at the same time, I find the controller to kind of suck. I don't know. Maybe it's because when you're holding it, your thumbs are kind of straight up like this, and then you can't really move them around down here. You kind of have to keep them vertical, so it reduces movement, but that's just my opinion. You know, do with that as you will. Underneath that is the Wii and Wii U. Drastically cut down on these games because I don't play the Wii that often, especially Wii U. But I do have some good Wii U games. I have Pikmin 3, Zombie U, however you say that, Mario Kart 8. And then for Wii, I have one of my favorite games, which is Super Paper Mario. I love that game. I think it's fantastic. It's probably my favorite Wii game next to Super Mario Galaxy, but I would say Paper Mario comes first. Alright, let's go through all of these systems. 2 Super Nintendos. The Tower of Power. Sega 32X, Sega Genesis, and Sega CD. Atari 2600 Junior. Atari 7800, Atari 5200, all work by the way. My 3 PlayStation 2s, Slim. Including my black one, which I've had since I was a kid. That thing's probably 20-25 years old. My Sega Sports Dreamcast. My Switches, which include the OLED and the Pokemon Diamond, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl Edition Switch Lite. Don't kill me, I don't remember that off the top of my head, plus the box. My 2 GameCubes, one modified to have the Raspberry Pi Pico and my normal GameCube. 2 Wiis. 2 PlayStation 3s. Realized that wasn't in shot. PlayStation 1. This is where my N64 would go. Sega Saturn. TurboGrafx 16. Top Loader NES. And Atari Jaguar, my beloved Atari Jaguar. It's a lot of systems. This will just be a really quick part because this is all my cable management and stuff like that. One thing I will say, always get yourself a label maker. Makes life easier for labeling cables and stuff like that. But ignore all the tape and crap that's written on here. I've gone through many revisions of this, but now all of my cables are in individual bags that correspond to the system. So what do we have here? We have my Halo Xbox. So everything is labeled and everything's in a baggie. I used to just have everything thrown into this container, but that didn't really work for me. And up top here is just some extra stuff. This is all my handheld charging controllers, some extras over here, and yeah. I highly recommend, you could get these tubs. I got mine at Target, but it's like $10. Get yourself a thing of 1-gallon Ziploc baggies and a Sharpie, and go to town. It's the best way to kind of keep stuff together. Wasn't really sure what to put in this corner over here, but I do have some interesting stuff. We have my Fallout Collector's Editions, including my working Pip-Boy. This is an actual functioning Pip-Boy Mark IV. And I love it. And yeah, that's all I can say about it. I love it. I think it's so cool. I love the Fallout series. Underneath is my Amiga 500 Mini and some controllers and a keyboard that goes to the Dreamcast. And up top here are just some Rubik's Cubes. Yes, I can solve these. I'll just hold the mic for this one. This will be the outro. Thank you very much for watching. This was the 6-month updated game room tour. If you want to know more in-depth details about any of these games or anything, I have videos basically talking about everything in here, which is why I'm not going in-depth into everything now. But thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and support me on Ko-fi if you want to. Link is down in the description. It's just a donation thing if you want to, obviously. You don't have to. I'm not forcing anyone to do that. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful week.